Hello. Welcome to the next in a series of review clips designed to assist you in preparing for your Biology 3201 public examination. In this clip, we'll be taking a more detailed look at those persons that contribute to the development of evolution as an idea and theory. How we have developed our ideas on it has been a product of many people throughout the course of history. We're going to examine some of these contributors and how this helped create our current ideas on evolution. The reality is that this has been happening for a long time. This theory has been developed. In fact, dating back to the age of the Greeks and the Greek philosophers, Aristotle, Plato, they didn't believe in evolution. They said that all organisms which could exist were already created. Aristotle, in 322 BC, one of Plato's students, believed that all living forms could be arranged on a scale of increasing complexity, or a scala naturae. He felt that there were no vacancies and there was no mobility in this latter. Species were fixed, they are permanent, and they do not evolve. He firmly believed in the stability of species. The natural theologians saw the adaptation of organisms as evidence that the Creator had designed each and every species for a particular purpose. This is based on Judeo-Christian culture, the Old Testament. They firmly held that the Earth is very young, about 6,000 years old, and in fact they've even attributed a date to it, to October 22nd, 4004 BC. European colonialism led to a discovery that the number of species on this planet is very large. It's been observed huge variation in population from one area to the next. Maybe species can change after all was the predominant thought following discoveries made on the colonies. Cuvier, who lived from 1769 to 1832, is said to be the founder of paleontology, the study of fossils. He opposed evolution, but he did study the fossil record, and he noted that something was causing species to appear and disappear. He developed the idea of catastrophism. Catastrophism, by definition, is the idea that catastrophes account for the disappearance and appearance of species within the fossil record. He did believe that species appeared and reappeared, but he did not believe in change. Noah's flood, causing many disappearances of organisms in the fossil record, was an illustrative point. Cuvier, in finding fossils, identified that layers of rock would contain unique fossils distinct to that layer, distinct life forms. He was very developmental in paleontology and comparative anatomy. Cuvier's contribution was catastrophe, total destruction and replacement of flora and fauna on the Earth. He recognized, Cuvier did, that the extinction of species was a fairly common occurrence throughout Earth's history. And as he worked from layer to layer, he found evidence that species would disappear and be replaced over the course of millions of years. Cuvier felt that catastrophic events had periodically destroyed species living in a given area. And he hypothesized that these catastrophes corresponded to the strata of the layers. He did feel that these catastrophes were localized and the area affected would be repopulated by organisms from neighboring unaffected areas. James Hutton, a Scottish geologist, suggested in 1795 that the idea of gradualism and that profound change is the cumulative effect of slow but continuous processes. He looked at present-day processes such as water erosion. And he believed that these processes, operating over millions of years, could have created the geologic feature we now see today. He concluded the Earth, in turn, was very old. James Lyell, who lived from 1797 to 1875, expanded and further developed Hutton's idea of gradualism. Gradually, remember, the idea that the geological features are in a state of slow and continual change, but he developed the idea of uniformitarianism. And this was that geologic processes operate at the same rate as they always did. He didn't believe in catastrophism. And he held that the Earth was millions of years old instead of 6,000 years, as the natural theologians held. So Hutton, no vestige of beginning, no prospect of an end. Lyell, he believed that species die out and are replaced. The question was how? Did this happen singly or all at once? And why? Was it senescence? Was it environmental change? These are questions which Lyell wasn't able to answer. So Lyell, he was fascinated by geological change taking place today, and he was the first person to recognize metamorphic rocks as a group and to clearly understand the rock cycle. He published Principles of Geology, and as he supported the concept of an old Earth with overwhelming evidence, his work was eventually accepted by most geologists. Another significant contributor was Thomas Malthus. He was an economist. And Malthus looked at populations. He studied animals and plants and knew that they often outgrow their food supply. And when there's periods of rapid growth such as this, it causes starvation and disease, which causes a reduction in population. Crowding, struggle for survival, through competition for resources, is what keeps populations from exploding. So he firmly advocated the idea of competition within populations. So Malthus certainly felt that competition keep population from exploding. Darwin, in fact, borrowed many of Malthus' ideas on struggle for survival, and he realized that those organisms with the best traits were best suited for the competition. And if they're best suited, their likelihood of passing on their genes was significantly increased. Jean-Baptiste Lamarck, he published a theory of evolution in 1809. He believed that organisms came from non-living sources, and he said that organisms respond to needs in their environment. He put forward the idea that body parts used extensively to cope in the environment become stronger and stronger. Law of use and disuse. Blacksmith's biceps, a giraffe's neck. He believed that modification acquired during a lifetime can be passed on to offspring, or the inheritance of acquired characteristics. A child will be strong if their dad was a weightlifter. If you accidentally lost a finger, you produce offspring with 9 fingers. While these ideas may seem ridiculous to us today, they certainly held credence in Lamarck's day. So in 1802, he published his Philosophie Zoologique, where he tried to explain the diversity of form and the trend to becoming increasing complex, and how species are transformed into one another. Lamarck's ideas was on the idea of inheritance of acquired characteristics. Two notable gentlemen that followed this were Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace. Both these gentlemen were contemporaries of each other and actually developed very similar theories. Wallace was a British naturalist, and he did studies on a group of islands in Indonesia. He in fact created the same theory as Darwin's idea of natural selection. Darwin, the gentleman gets most of the credit for evolution, he wrote the book The Origin of Species in 1859, in which he published his idea on evolution. He studied finch and tortoise on the Galapagos Islands, and he pushed forward a theory of descent with modification with 2 main ideas. Firstly, present life forms have arisen by descent and modification from an ancestral species, and he proposed that natural selection is the mechanism of modification over long periods of time. Darwin wasn't able to explain how best traits were inherited. He knew nothing about Mendel's work and mutations, which provided genetic variation with the population. Mendel's work supported Darwin's ideas. So Darwin's theory of natural selection can be summarized by the following 5 main points. Firstly, organisms produce more offspring than can survive. Secondly, competition for limited resources causes a struggle for survival. Third, individuals in a population can have variations that are heritable, in other words, can be passed on. And these variations are often caused by mutations. Fourth, only the organism best suited their local environment survive to produce offspring. The idea that the environment determines who survives. And fifth, change is slow and gradual. Past public examinations have posed questions on this topic. I present the following. Which scientists believe that a person who accidentally lost a finger will produce offspring with 9 fingers? This would be the inheritance of acquired characteristics, which is an idea put forward by Lamarck. This question is asked who proposed a theory of evolution identical to Darwin? Wallace put forward a theory at the same time as Darwin with the same identical theory. This question, which idea was included in Lamarck's theory of evolution? Remember, Lamarck held that characteristics acquired during one's lifetime would be passed on to offspring. The correct answer is A, acquired characteristics. And this question, which statement is most directly associated with the research of Darwin? A, acquired characteristics are important for slow and gradual change in the population. This is Lamarck. B, alleles located on chromosomes provide the means for variation in the population. This is chromosomal theory of inheritance. Well, yes, a valid theory, but it's certainly not related to Darwin's research. C, mutations are often harmful. Again, a valid point, however, is not related to the work of Darwin. The correct answer is D. Organisms produce more offspring than can survive, creating competition for resources. Thank you for your attention. I hope you found this learning clip to be helpful.